Thank you for joining Wars of the Rosies. And this is The Name Pharaoh by Lyman B. From Rosicrucian Digest, Volume 34, Number 6, 1956. The Name Pharaoh by Lyman B. Since infancy, the present generation have been taught to give the name Pharaoh to the rulers of ancient Egypt. This phrase originated by the Hebrew people when they were numbered among the numerous tribes that had been enslaved. It is not a word, it is a phrase, Pharaoh, and its best interpretation is the one who lives in the great house. Hebrews, to invent such a term, to be overheard using the proper name of the Egyptian ruler, meant a penalty of death. This applied always to the lower levels of Egyptian society. The Egyptian rulers of old were looked upon as such sacred beings that it was a very serious matter to bandy their names in public. The power of ancient Egypt was far-flung. Neighboring nations were careful to see that no adverse reports reached Egypt. An open utterance of the name within their borders. For this reason, in all the early books of the Old Testament, a ruler of Egypt is never mentioned by his proper name. It is always Pharaoh. As the Hebrew kingdom enlarged itself, the nations of the Mesopotamian valley were also developing. The power of Egypt commenced to wane. During the reign of Solomon, the Jewish dominions reached right down to the very borders of Egypt. It was at this time the two books, Book of the Kings and the Book of the Chronicles, were organized. These writings continue to record events that took place after the reign of Solomon. These scribes thought that the Jewish nation had developed to a point where they could get a bit careless with the name of the king of Egypt. They dropped the Pharaoh and commenced not only to write his name, but to bandy it around the marketplaces of Jerusalem. The name of the king is given as Shishak. In due course, these incidences were brought to the attention of the Egyptian court. And what happened? The sad story is related in verse 9 of the second book of the Chronicles, chapter 12. So Shishak, king of Egypt, came up against Jerusalem and took away the treasures of the house of the Lord and the treasures of the king's house. He took all. He carried away also the shields of gold which Solomon had made. If the reader is within visiting distance of a museum where some of the ancient Egyptian writings are displayed, an examination of such picture writings may disclose the fact that some of the characters are completely enclosed in an oval frame. If such is seen in the exhibit, the visitor may be satisfied that the name of an ancient Egyptian ruler is there expressed. The oval frame means that the glory of the ruler extended as far as the daily circuit of the sun. Some of those weak Jewish kings that followed Solomon found out, to their sorrow, that the oval frame was something to be respected. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to share, like, subscribe, and comment. And if you can, please donate to Wars of the Rosies. Links to PayPal and Patreon are in the description. Thank you so very much.